Services is a proud supporter of Pro V Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
If you're drunk,
blasted, intoxicated,
ripped, plastered, destroyed, brah. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Time for the opening drive.
Voted the best sports show in New Mexico
for 5 years running. It's the OD and the AM with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Well, the closer we get, the more answers we get, at least answers for now. With the season set to start in the National Football League 1 week from today, I think now we know everybody's starting quarterback. Maybe you're surprised, maybe you're not. Not sure you should be. And we'll see how long they all last. Lots to do on a Thursday. Welcome in. Thanks for being with us on the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. We're on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal, along with the app, JJ. You know we have an app? Well, how you living?
There's an app for that.
Yeah. You all right?
All right.
All right. What's going on? Big night in college football tonight. Deion Sanders' team plays. I mean, you can sit. I got a fantasy draft at 8. I can sit in front of my. It's a remote one because it's. Well, I'm remote. Those guys in San Diego, I think, all got together. Get to sit around and do that. All right, here's your quarterbacks. Any surprise? This came out this morning. The Patriots head coach Gerard Mayo will go with Jacoby Brissett is the team's starting quarterback. The veteran has held off a rookie, Drake May, who was the number 3 overall pick. This morning, this is Mayo, quote, "We have decided, or I have decided, that Jacoby Brissett will be our starting quarterback this season, and saying that as an organization, we are 100% behind Jacoby. There is no, you got a guy right here, you got a guy right there. We're 100% behind Jacoby," end quote. The veteran basically was the front runner, all campus starter. He became a pretty good competition. And Mayo had said previously that once Drake May became less deferential, the gap between the quarterbacks was closing to the point where May was playing better than Jacoby Brissett. But at the same time, they liked Jacoby Brissett's experience. Their schedule makes this interesting, JJ, to me. This doesn't surprise me. I don't know that I need to hear him say, and maybe he does need to, that we are 100% behind Jacoby Brissett. They went out and used the 3rd pick overall to get the guy that they think is the future of their franchise. And in the past, the way it used to be done, and it worked with Jordan Love, obviously, it worked with Patrick Mahomes, quarterbacks used to sit behind a veteran and learn the NFL. Then it became more of a trend once you spent a high pick, and 3 is certainly high, on a quarterback, you got to throw him right in. This team isn't going to win a lot. They open up Bengals, Seahawks, Jets, Niners, Dolphins, Texans. It's a brutal stretch to get started. I'm not surprised at all. And I do believe we'll see Drake May at some point. The 100% behind Jacoby Brissett comment is interesting, but I guess you have to say that because he's your quarterback.
It's a team that has what they hope is an average offensive line. They don't have playmakers. They have young players that they're hoping to develop. So it's almost like they're going to throw out the skill players and get them confidence. So when Drake May starts, which he will this season, they might be a little bit more consistency, but this is a Patriots team that scored 13.9 points per game last year. It's not going to be much more than that this season. And of the quarterbacks that we were expecting to get an opportunity to play this season, we knew that with Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels locked in, no question that they're going to be the starters for the Bears and Commanders. And I do think that they're at a different level of talent than Drake May is at this point in time. And then the two to watch were really Bo Nix and Drake May. And if it was the right thing to let these guys sit. Now, Drake May didn't look overwhelmed. He was fine. But you did see the difference in potentially everything around Drake May versus Bo Nix. And with Bo Nix, you're also getting Sean Payton in that offense, which you're, in terms of, in that scheme, which you're not getting with the Patriots. And you do have a defensive coach. Don't forget that. John Mayo is still a defensive guy. And right now he is concerned about playing defense, not turning the football over. And that's usually what you expect a veteran quarterback to do.
So you like the difference between Nix and when you talk about Bo Nix, you're talking about the Broncos. You're comfortable with him starting, and you're comfortable with the decision that the Patriots made.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not sure I disagree with you, and especially with the brutal schedule to start that the Patriots have, and they're not going to be very good. The other quarterback decision came down yesterday. Russell Wilson, and this, I don't think this is a surprise, is going to get the start with the Steelers. He beat out Justin Fields. And Fields was interesting in this whole thing. And I think at some point there's going to be a quarterback change. You've been on this the whole way. You were right with this one. I don't know that Russ did anything spectacular. I think he didn't fumble a couple of snaps. This felt like a really close competition because nobody ran away and really did anything, at least in preseason games that we could see. I don't know what's going on in camp. I don't know what's going on, in their controlled scrimmages and their joint practice stuff. But it doesn't surprise me because this is a situation where the head coach went in and said Russell Wilson is in the pole position, and Fields really didn't do anything spectacular to take it away from him.
I don't think Fields ever had a chance
You don't think he ever did?
to win this job.
Then why would they? Well, I guess because he's cheap and he's a backup. And all right,
You're not paying anything for these guys. You're hoping to catch lightning in a bottle. And it does sound like, though, that Justin Fields is going to be on the field. Just not as a starting quarterback early in the season. Probably some Justin Fields packages, which at this point you have to do if you're the Steelers, because trying to figure out where any explosive players are going to come from in that offense is really hard right now.
Well, I do think he had a chance. I do think that if he would have been really, really good, he could have won that job. But we don't know. I mean, it just is what it is. And so it's not counting injury. Do you believe Justin Fields will be a starting quarterback for the Steelers at some point this season?
Yes, I do.
6 weeks, 7 weeks, 12 weeks? What do you think? You guess.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, and that's another schedule I was looking at, where there felt like there was a point that maybe it works because they open up Falcons, they're bye. They don't get a bye for a while. Falcons, Broncos, Chargers, Colts, Cowboys, Raiders. That's not nearly what New England opens up. I mean, there's winnable games in there if you're going to be a contender, right? I mean, the Steelers are very much like the Falcons, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Colts, the Cowboys, the Raiders, aren't they?
They're better than that.
All of those teams? You think the
No.
Steelers are better than all those teams?
Better than Broncos and Raiders.
If they get good quarterback play.
They won 10 games last year.
I got it.
They
Who
have
did?
better
The
quarterback
Ste-
situation.
All right. Let's see. I'm not as convinced as you are. This is just such a much better quarterback situation. You and I, obviously, we're really different on Russell Wilson.
It's not better, and they still won 2 more games than the Broncos and
All right, but did the Broncos get
Raiders
better?
last year.
Are the Broncos in a better place?
no, they're not better. They have
You don't think?
upside.
I'd argue that too. And time will tell on that. I
Steelers
think,
have the best defense of any of those teams that you named.
yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And you're still going to have to score some points. So Steeler games are going to still be 17-13 games.
AFC North.
Yeah, yeah. All right, 505-246-0610 is how to get here. 505-246-0610. 0610, want to hear from you today. Emails Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com, JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. On the X, it's _JJ Buck. We're on the Facebook, the OD and the AM. That's where you can watch the show. You can also watch the show on Xfinity, Channel 26, or Comcast, if you have that, throughout the state of New Mexico, and on the YouTube channel for ProView Networks. Later today, 8:30 this morning, we're going to have our first conversation of the season with Jerry Palm, he of CBS Sports, covering college athletics, college football, college basketball, as we get a full slate of games tonight, and it's a fun slate of games tonight. And so when we come back, what you can watch, what maybe you should watch, what to look out for tonight as you get a chunk of college football on a Thursday night. Week 1 is underway. 505-246-0610 is the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Hey.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
What's going on? Who are you guys?
Well, sir, I'm going to pick you up at the DWI checkpoint for drunk driving.
And that's when I have to come down to get you out of jail.
Well, temporarily. I'm Judge Torres. They call him the Hammer. Hey, hot off the presses, champ.
I'm real proud of you, honey.
Way to make them happy back home, Captain.
Who's that?
That's your new buddy in jail.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We can all unite against cancer. It's the Lobo Cancer Challenge, September 28th at University Stadium. Register now, please. We're raising money for the UNM Comprehensive Cancer Center, and every dollar that is raised will go to fight cancer in New Mexico. Bike, run, walk, stair climb. Register at sportsanimалabq.com and be a part of that great event. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck. JJ, you can start sitting on the couch about 4 o'clock, and you can watch college football until you fall asleep somewhere about 11:30, starting today if you would like. We get a full slate, and there's so much stuff going on, and you can find stuff that you don't really want to interest yourself with if you want, or stuff you don't even know. But you're eating today, man. This is that Thursday night where your girlfriend or wife is like, wait, what are we doing? I'm watching Howard versus Rutgers, man. It's on the Big Ten Network at 4 o'clock, and we kicked it off.
There's 3 quality games kicking off at 6, North Carolina, at Minnesota, Coastal Carolina, Jacksonville State, and then the highlight of tonight is North Dakota State, Colorado.
It is. So the Carolina-Minnesota game's on Fox, your regular over-the-air Fox at 6 o'clock. The Coastal Jacksonville State game, which I think is really, really good, is on CBS Sportsnet at 6 o'clock. And then that North Dakota State game against Colorado is at 6 o'clock on ESPN. And that's the one that everybody's kind of looking at. 9.5-point spread, Colorado. Look, this is going one way or the other. I really believe this. I think either Colorado runs them out of the building because Dion and that coaching staff has been preaching everybody's against you. You listen to that bull junk. Listen to this bull junk. Everybody's talking bull junk about us getting beat, right? North Dakota, and I think North Dakota State was 10-4 last year, their worst record in 15 years. But they're still a really good FCS team. But or North Dakota State goes in and pulls it off. I don't know that I think this is a close Colorado victory, but I could be wrong. But it's 9.5. Which way do you think it goes?
I think it's going to be a close game if Colorado wins.
Okay.
By the end, maybe they pull away by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think that it's going to go one way or the other. And I'm interested to see how Colorado reacts if, in fact, they do get challenged. Right? I'm interested in that. Look, their schedule's interesting. Colorado gets Nebraska on the road next week. Then they're on the road. They get the rivalry game with Colorado State. And then they're in it, man. Baylor, UCF, Kansas State, Arizona, Cincinnati, Texas Tech, Utah. They're in the Big 12, man. It's big boy stuff. If you want to watch a Mountain West team tonight, you can do that as well. Sacramento State and San Jose State go 8 o'clock on True TV Max. So they're on True TV and Max? Is that where I'm finding?
Yeah, you can stream it on Max.
Okay.
Pop up True TV. 3.5-point favorites for San Jose State. Upset alert.
Tell me why I should be on Sacramento State. I know they're all over the Mountain West schedules. I know they're everywhere. And I looked at the favorites. So the big favorites in FCS: South Dakota State, North Dakota State, Montana. Montana State's fourth. This Sacramento State team gets mentions, but I mean, I don't know, 20th. San Jose State. I think San Jose State handles them tonight. You don't think so?
This is one where I'm expecting a close game.
Okay, I think that's probably right.
And I don't think San Jose State is going to handle them.
Okay.
In their first game without Brent Brennan.
I kind of do. I'm interested to see what they are, right? Under Ken Niumatalolo, and what kind of offense they run. And this is a guy lived and died by that option, triple option when he had to. I think they're going to be a lot different. But I'm interested to see what they are. So you get all that tonight. Lobo football. It's 7:30 pregame, or 7:30. 7:30 pregame, 8:30 kickoff Mountain Time. Over on News Radio KKOB on Saturday night. They're in Arizona. They'll see their former head coach on the other side, Danny Gonzalez, and of course Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, one of the big running backs for Arizona, one of the four-headed monster that they'll run at you. And New Mexico State goes tonight. Saturday night, and they will be in action down at Aggie Memorial Stadium. They open up against Southeast Missouri State. Anything else? Is there those are the games, and then the rest of it tonight is pretty much it's FBS, FCS stuff. Is there any other? I'm interested in Carolina, Minnesota, but the rest of it's kind of just okay. Right? I mean, we got football.
The rest of it is don't stub your toe type of stuff. But I'm going back to your question on San Jose State. I don't know what kind of offense they're going to run.
Right, that's my point.
They have Niumatalolo, who has an option background, of course, coming from the Service Academy, and what he's ran. His offense coordinator played wide receiver at Hawaii, so that's the complete opposite of an option offense.
Yep.
Base if he brings in those concepts. You have a San Jose State team that lost their top two rushers, replacing 4 offensive linemen, 9 of the 14 defenders, and returns they rank 131st in returning production. What you expect in new coach, Porter era, but that's why I don't think they're running away from Sacramento State at all.
And yet the over-under is 60.5, meaning Vegas thinks they're going to score some points, right? And so Vegas knows something in regards to what they're going to do offensively. Now, I mean, I have no idea. And that's why I'm somewhat interested in taking a look at them tonight. All right, 505-246-0610. We did talk about Colorado a little bit, too. Did you see the story where Colorado went to the Pac-12? This was, JJ, this is a game last year, and complained about the Oregon game. There was a complaint filed, and I don't know that anything ever happened with it, but the Colorado Buffaloes alleged that Oregon last year, remember when Oregon just dismantled them? I mean, just took them apart. Colorado alleged that Oregon had illegally accessed practice video from Colorado and data after this was 42-6 was that number last year. So after the game, the Buffaloes made a complaint with the Pac-12. This is Front Office Sports reporting that. So according to the report, the league's investigation into that incident ended when the Buffaloes ultimately declined to provide evidence for their accusations. If you're going to make the accusation, you kind of have to say, hey, so here's why we made the accusation. Here's what we got on this. Colorado staff alleged that it found multiple potential intrusions, was a quote, into the program's online server. The server's Catapult. They conducted their own independent investigation, and they decided that there was no evidence that the system had been breached. Dude, I'm going to tell you, that's a hell of, and I don't know why this is just coming out now. That's a hell of an allegation. They came in and pantsed you. And this was when Colorado was talking all the bull junk. This was relatively early in the season. And remember Dan Lanning's pregame speech that was recorded and put on TV, and he somewhat mocked him a little bit. So there was a little bad blood. But if you're going to make this allegation, don't you kind of have to have something to back it up?
Yeah. And this is why it's so hard to root for Colorado for so many people, and why it's become 50-50, not just Deion Sanders polarizing, but a story like this coming out.
Right.
You got destroyed, so you immediately think, oh, they must have been cheating. And Connor Stallings going on a road trip to Oregon.
Yep.
No. You just got beat by a much better football team across the board, talent-wise, coaching staff-wise, and then to get it to the point you actually report it and say something, it's just so bitter. And it's, for all the good that Deion Sanders has done with his players, there's moments like this, and you kind of do want to see them lose. Like, you have that back and forth pull watching the Buffaloes, which is, hey, that's why they are some of the greatest entertainment in college football right now.
No doubt. But it's such a bad look. Oregon put out the statement, we are unaware of any information that provides any credibility to this claim and see no reason to comment further. End quote, period. And that's all they had to say. Show me some evidence and I'll start feeling differently about this. But to make an allegation and knowing at some point, okay, we're listening to your allegation, we would like to take it seriously. Do you have any documentation or any sort of evidence to back the allegation that you have made against a partner conference institution? Well, no, we don't, but there was an intrusion into our server. Okay, do you have any information that says it was them? You've got to be better than that. Cybersecurity was a big topic in college football over the last bunch of months. The NCAA, and this is the first year that they've got helmet communications, that there's in-game sideline access to video through the tablets that you're seeing on the sideline now. Catapult, the server company, came under fire back in December because staff at Alabama and Michigan claimed that they were informed about potential security concerns with the server, and so Michigan cut access to the server to anyone outside of the university facilities. So look, this is real, and when you're using data and technology, and you're always worried about, I mean, I don't know, dude, this isn't science stealing, right? This is a whole nother level of stealing information and what's right and what's wrong. And there's the whole, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And if I'm able to somehow cyber steal your correspondence, am I cheating? I think that's above and beyond. Right?
There's lines that should be drawn. And there's one thing to have game film. It's another to
everybody's got that
break into a server or a database that has practice film and different things you could be going over, stuff that's not on film yet. All this stuff that's why practices are closed for all these teams. And then for Colorado just to be like, well, they couldn't have actually been that much better than us. They must have
they were
stolen our practice film and then put it out there and then be like, all right, what do you got? We actually don't have anything. We are just mad that they beat us.
Yeah. Yes. It's just something else. All right, when we come back, look, be great, but you don't have to knock the greats of another era. The banter that's been going back in the NBA is unbelievable. Great player. Actually, how about this? I don't know if he's great. Really, 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 really good player. Really, really, really bad take. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, paint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, paint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
M610, the sports animal.
On a tank full, man. Trips on a tank full in our beautiful state. You can go a lot of beautiful places, and we're giving you an opportunity to win one. The Glorietta Adventure Camps. High Five Zip Line. It's an adventure for 4 people, valued at over $500. It includes 5 sections of zip lines, which is mountain stretched above the Rockies. Get a $150 gas card as well. It's from Mercedes-Benz of Albuquerque. You want to win this trip? Of course you do. Log on to sportsanimalabq.com and sign up. JJ, really, 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 really good player. Probably at some point going to be great. You may tell me he's already great. Really, really, really bad take. This was a couple days ago, and we hadn't got to this yet. But I think Anthony Edwards is a terrific player. The young star in the making. He's a superstar in the making of the Minnesota Timberwolves. And he shared his thought about players from past generations, the 80s, the 90s. He was doing an interview with the Wall Street Journal, which is really kind of, in its own right, interesting. But he was asked how his generation, the current generation of NBA players, compares to the ones from the past. And he responded by saying, quote, Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill. That was part of his quote. JJ, it's such a bad take from such a really good player. So everybody's chiming in. And even Magic Johnson said, I never respond to a guy that's never won a championship. He didn't win a championship. I don't know if he even won a high school championship. Which, okay, I don't know if that's whatever. JJ, when I heard that, I cringed. I did. I know you got YouTube. I know, like you can't watch. You can look at Larry Bird now and say, yeah, that guy couldn't play. But then go back and look at his video. Go back and look at Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Julius Erving and. I don't know that this will stick to him, and at some point he'll laugh it off, and I don't know if he even believes it. Honestly, I don't. Isaiah Thomas. The Isaiah Thomas from that generation, not the current generation. Quote, propaganda works, so be careful what you choose to believe, end quote. When you heard it, man, what'd you think?
It's a bad take because the best players of any sport in any generation could play in whatever era you want to put them in. When you're the best of your game. You know what it means too? For as off base as you think he is. And I was watching, Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser lose their minds over on PTI. Dude's 23 years old. Mm-hmm. Doesn't know about that generation, y'all.
Well, then why say it then? If you don't know it, then why say none of them can play?
Why do we say anything every day? It's one of the most confident players in that league. He talks like crazy, regardless of what it is. When he was going before the Olympics, when he was saying, I'm going to be the number one option on this team, I ain't coming off the bench. And they realized, well, you're coming off the bench. You're not the number one option. There's an element of that. The dude believes in himself. It doesn't mean he's right. There's 23 years old. Like, the dude was born after 2000.
So, pardon me if I don't buy that.
Okay, and I'm sure that Michael Jordan, maybe back in his day at some point in time, was like, those dudes in the 50s couldn't.
And if he said that, then he was wrong too. And then I wouldn't buy that either. Pardon me if I don't buy that. Do you agree? And you might not. And maybe this is a little bit presumptuous. Or if you are going to be one of the faces of a league, you should learn a little bit about the history of what you represent. You can tell me no.
No.
So you don't. So you think ignorance is fine? Because that's ignorant.
I think a lot of players are ignorant.
Okay. I don't think that's okay. And if it is okay, then what gives you the right then to make a comment like that? Because you can say anything you want. But you're just, I say it all the time, because you don't know about something doesn't make it good. To make a definitive statement, and I probably just said it in the middle of an interview and I had no idea that it was going to have the effect it did. But it's ignorant. It is. And just being 23, look, when I was 23, and you and I talk about stuff that happened before us, none of us saw Babe Ruth play. We talk about Tiger and Jack Nicklaus. How many of us saw Jack Nicklaus play? But we went back and looked at it before we start opening our mouths. We try to learn a little bit about the past. I agree with you. At 23 years old, he never saw Magic Johnson or Isaiah Thomas or Julius Erving or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar play. They're just old guys that he sees on commercials. Or he sees at All-Star games and probably looks at them and says, yeah, those guys couldn't play. So I don't know if he believes it or not, but I believe if you're going to be a face of a league, and that's what people are anointing him as the next face of the league, then yeah, I think you do have a responsibility to kind of have an idea of what happened before you. When history is history, and I don't think you had to be alive when something happened just to know about it. None of us knew George Washington. We know a little bit about him, don't we? I mean, don't we?
Yeah.
I mean, we can differ on that. I'm fine. I think you're wrong on that one. If it's anybody telling me you don't have to learn about the past, he wasn't alive. So
it's not these guys' jobs to be historians.
Well,
like,
then,
they don't care in the moment.
Then why make a comment on it?
This is one where I think for these guys, they don't separate things enough. Like, there's no question. Yeah, we can name Hall of Famers. Fantastic. I think that the overall play from top to bottom is better than it was.
Okay.
And I think that's where they don't know how to say that.
All right. And look, I'll acquiesce on this. He was asked the question. I don't even know the context. Did the article ever come out? The Wall Street Journal thing ever come out? He was asked the question by the Wall Street Journal to compare this generation to the past. I mean, if he doesn't know, and like you just said, this generation is deeper. Okay, I'll buy that. Conditioning is better. That generation played a lot more games. They didn't load manage. They were tougher. It was a different game. It was much more physical. It was a different game.
Do I agree with his comment? No, but I think this is what, like, Anthony Edwards wants to do.
Is what?
Get reaction.
You think that's why he said that? Maybe.
And I think he believes that he's better than those guys. Does it make him right? No, but I think that's his character with what we've seen him do, how we've seen him play and talk the last 2 years.
Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill. I think he believes that.
Probably a little bit.
Because he doesn't know, or because he just like Magic and when that good. Larry Bird, man, that guy couldn't play. George Gervin was nothing.
Dude, it's the same reason people still don't think Nikola Jokic deserves to have multiple MVPs. My people think Larry Bird wasn't any good.
Why? Because he's white?
Yep.
The white guy can't play? I mean, I watch Nikola Jokic every day. I watched Larry Bird in his prime. I don't know. Okay. We'll disagree on this. I find it irresponsible if he's going to double down. He hasn't said anything more on this, right? And again, is this earth-shattering? Has it changed the world? I mean, it's not like, LeBron's kid can't call him daddy on the court. I mean, that's going to change the world. I'm kidding. What should Bronny call his dad on the court, by the way? Goat? Is that what he wants him to call him?
Ron?
Isn't it funny, man? It's like that whatever that commercial's for. It's Faster, bro. That you're seeing all the time. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's some medicine. And the mom says, it's mom to you, right? Your parents always, I'm mom. Do not call me dad at work, but you better call me dad later. It's that whole dynamic is going to be interesting to me. All right, I'm gonna just say, look, when I heard it, it wasn't earth shattering to me. It was just, wow, how can a dude who's that good, who's that borderline great, who's so fun to watch, who's so entertaining, have such a bad take about the game? I don't know if he loves the game or not, that he's so good at, and just not have gone back and looked at it, because there's no way to look at those days and tell me Cooper, Worthy, Magic, Malone, Stockton. Oh wait, Stockton's white, so he can't be very good. Akeem, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley. None of those guys could play. Only Michael Jordan can play, because I wear shoes. I think it's and with all due respect, just because you're young and you didn't see it doesn't mean that's like a free pass. Well, I wasn't around, so it didn't happen before me. Yeah, it did, man. There was a world before you. There'll be a world after you. And if you're in a position where you're going to speak with authority, I just feel like the responsibility is to have a little bit of an idea what you're talking about. That's all.
But what if he believes it?
Okay, then he's wrong. Then it's a really, 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 really bad take. You think anybody else believes it? How would you possibly back up nobody else but Michael Jordan had any skill? Then it's just a flat out really bad wrong take. Back it up. Take his side. Back it up. Let me hear it.
I'm not going to take his side. He's 23 years old. He doesn't have to.
No, I'm just saying, if he believes it, how would you back it up? Be him for a minute.
We read emails from people every day that have terrible takes. We have bad takes.
It's so true. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Like he just didn't hit erase. Like that history is still there. There's 99% of people on your side.
Yep.
But to sit here and think Anthony Edwards is just watching Hardwood Classics every day, it's not. He's a young kid
That's not what I'm suggesting either. I mean,
like, I think he can be off base with his take.
Yeah.
But then I can also see why him in his mind is sitting here believing that.
Okay. Hopefully he watches some Hardwood Classics and gets a little education and realizes the Karl Malone and Hakeem Olajuwon and Tim Duncan, and they were really good. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Sweet Rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
10, the sports animal.
They freed up a lot of money, but what are they going to do with it? And there's so much money in this deal. The Cleveland Browns today restructured the contract of their quarterback, Deshaun Watson. ESPN's Field Yates is reporting the move creates almost $36 million in cap space. How did they do that? Well, they converted $44.79 million in Deshaun Watson's $46 million base salary for this year. So Deshaun Watson was to make $46 million base this year. They converted that into a signing bonus, and that gives them more than $62 million in cap space. Dude, if anything is hocus pocus to me, and there are a lot of things that are, the salary cap is hocus pocus to me. So we're giving you the money, but it's not a salary, it's a bonus, so it doesn't count against the cap. Deshaun doesn't care. Wherever he gets his $250 million guaranteed, he's getting his $250 million guaranteed. But the Browns are expected to roll over the majority of this cap space to have financial flexibility in the next offseason because they were already projected to be $44 million over the cap next offseason. When I get so lost in salary cap stuff. Do you understand all this?
Yes.
Okay, help.
They're going to have to eat it at some point.
Right, at some point it catches up, right?
So this is just them pushing it further down the road.
At some point they get hit, right?
Yes. It's just like why the Broncos have to eat a certain amount of salary. Why Dak Prescott, even if he's not on the roster next year for the Cowboys, counts
because they already paid him.
Because of moving bonuses around and signing bonuses, like that stuff impacts it. You can always do salary cap magic, but the bill doesn't go away.
At some point it comes in on you, right?
Yes.
All right. And if you're Deshaun, all right, so you want to give me $44 million and call it a bonus, and so I get that today, and then I get, well, okay. Like he's fine, right? As long as he's getting his $250.
Yeah, he's getting all his money. It's guaranteed.
So what does he care? It's the second time the Browns have adjusted his contract, by the way. I'm sorry, it was only $230 million guaranteed. I apologize, it wasn't $250, $230. But ahead of free agency in 2023, they cleared about $36 million in cap space by restructuring his contract, and they added a void year. I mean, and to your point, then this is just totally kicking it down the road. So they didn't add any years to his deal. The restructure basically ties them to him, but they were already tied to him, with big dead cap hits if they were to move off of him before the deal expires. His cap hits, this is insanity, dude. And this is exactly what you're talking about. So his cap hits in 25 and 26 are $72.9 million, with $172 million and $99 million dead cap hits, respectively. The whole salary cap is what, like 256? Isn't that about where the NFL team salary is? About $256 million? The numbers are boggling to me. They got nowhere to go, huh? So literally, this is a group that says, look, we need to win now, so let's figure it out, because we're not going to be here if we don't win to deal with the repercussions of this crap.
I don't think that's true.
If they don't win, you think the GM and the coach
Well, they just gave him. Well, things change. It's sport. I understand. But I think Kevin Stefanski and the general manager are more than Deshaun Watson do. I think that was above their heads.
It was before them, right?
So I don't think if they were to get fired because they don't win with Deshaun Watson, I think it's ignoring why this team is good. It's not because of Deshaun Watson.
Well, but I've seen owners fire coaches for overlooking the real problems many times, right? I mean, they're in a mode now. There's a number of teams that have to take a step, right? I think at the top of the ladder, Super Bowl, or what are we doing now, is San Francisco and the Ravens. And take another step in the postseason and really, conference championship games. There's a handful of teams, and I believe Cleveland's got to be in that bucket. I mean, what's a successful season for Cleveland? They went to the playoffs last year and got beaten in the first round. Right?
Win?
Yeah, right? I mean, that's a game away from the conference championship game, but yeah, playoff win. Well, it's amazing how that contract, and I think we all knew it when we saw it, didn't we? How that was going to come back to haunt. And it isn't haunting yet, but when those bills come due, holy smokes, man, the amount of money you're throwing around is insane. Tell us, replied Anthony Edwards. Those guys played real ball, Jeff. There was no crying to the refs, no challenging every caller, going to the monitor to toss dudes out. For example, Bernard King scores 40. The Washington Bullets beat the Lakers, and he just sent me the video of the physical play in there. It's skill, man. I think everybody but Anthony Edwards knows that. All right, Jerry Palm's going to be with us coming up at 8:30 this morning, 505-246-0610. That's how to get here today, 505-246-0610. When we come back, not so fast, my friend. Some of the best receivers in the NFL are not there at practice. Will they be there when we open up the season in a week? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom. Boom.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony.
Now,
Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to
5 years running. It's the OD and the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bond.
So who's going to play? Who's not going to play? Who's coming to camp? Who's just going to camp and not going to play even though they're at camp? It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. NFL season starts a week from today. Get a big load of college football tonight to enjoy. So it was about a day and a half ago. The Cincinnati Bengals started Jamar Chase was at camp, and Zach Taylor, their head coach, said he'll play in week 1. Not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say, because Jamar Chase was there, showed up 15 minutes late in street clothes, and Taylor said, I think I probably put my foot in my mouth speaking too quickly. Again, this is a day-to-day situation. We'll just keep seeing it as that, end quote. Your 3-time Pro Bowler was going through lighter practices earlier in the week, but he still has not been paid. And several minutes after the team started stretching yesterday, he strolled onto the indoor practice facility, not in uniform. He didn't participate in any of the team's practices, didn't speak to reporters afterwards. Jamar Chase has been pretty quiet about this, but and I think the Browns have been pretty clear, JJ, they're not giving him a new deal. This is a little bit different. He's in the 3rd year of his 5-year rookie deal, whereas some of the other guys, like CeeDee Lamb, was in the 4th year. I can't recall a guy getting paid going into year 3. Can you? Now, he's become one of the best in the league. I don't think it's arguable that he deserves that money, but he's got a contract, and the Browns have pretty much made it clear, yeah, we're not doing this.
And I think the Bengals, is that which guy are we talking about?
Chase, the Bengals.
Yeah. Bengals, yes. Yeah, they don't have a reason to.
I mean, he's going to play, right?
I don't know. He walked off the practice field yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
That does not sound like a guy that's going to play.
CeeDee Lamb obviously will. And then the Ayuk thing keeps going. And I think everybody's over that one at this point. Brandon Ayuk's still not there. The Niners say, yeah, we're getting a little nervous. Like, you got a fantasy draft Monday. If he's not in camp by Monday, what do you do with him?
Can be someone else's fantasy problem.
Right? What did you do with Jamar Chase? I mean, you got 2 guys that are sitting there in the first round. What do you do with them?
And Jamar Chase at the end of the first round, just talent-wise, I'll take him. But if I'm taking a first-round receiver, of course, it's CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson.
Who do you want? You want Devontae Adams before him at this point?
I think I'd still take a chance on Chase.
Okay. I mean, ability is availability.
But that could be where you go Chase and then Adams. And go starting off wide receiver to kind of give yourself a cushion if Chase really is this adamant about not showing up.
How does it work? Because his salary, Jamar Chase's salary is a little over 1 point something this year, right? He's already gotten his signing bonus. So really all he's walking away from this year would be 1 point something million, right? And the year of that would go towards his next contract. He got any signing bonus you get, they can't come back and ask you for that, can they? If you opt to not play, or can they come back and say, you know what, dude, then we're prorating, we need a year of your signing bonus back.
I don't think that they can get that money back.
So when you restructure these deals like Deshaun Watson, right? They just gave him 47 or 46 million of his 47 million in a bonus. Here you go. So if dude says, you know what, I'm not playing, you can't go get it back. Because that's what is going on here. He said, I'm not playing. He's got a contract.
It's for what would be coming, like the weekly game.
I wonder if that's going to change. If the wording in contracts, when we give you a signing bonus, like we're giving you the signing bonus with the understanding that you're coming to work. And if you do not come to work, then you owe us back the portion of the signing bonus.
That will not change.
You don't think that could be collectively bargained?
They will not bargain that away. The players will not bargain that.
I mean, if I'm the owners, I'm going. That's a pretty.
If you're the owners, you already have the power. You don't have to sign these dudes to anything.
Well, you do though.
No, you don't.
You do. You do. It's the market's what the market is. You do have to sign players. You do.
Yeah, but you don't have to make the next one the biggest contract. You don't have to sign them early, and that's what we're seeing with Cincinnati. They're not going to sign Jamar Chase 2 years too early, even though, guess what? Signing this guy now is cheaper than it's ever
Look, I think they should sign him now, too. I'm with you on that.
Like this is one where it doesn't make sense to me. Like, if you know you have a guy that is tier 1, even if it's early, like, well, you want to try to extend this out.
It's going to be cheaper now.
It's always going to be cheaper to get it done.
Totally agree. And by the way, I don't know that there's a scenario where an owner's been burned yet. So it hasn't really come up. But if dude just says, you know what, Le'Veon Bell's the only one who didn't play, right? Le'Veon Bell's the only guy who just said, bleep it, I'm not taking my $14 million this year. And how'd that work out for him, right? It didn't work out well. But if Jamar Chase, who got whatever his signing bonuses up front, says, I'm walking away from the $1.1 million this year, I don't care about that. I want my big money. Do you really get burned? JJ, it hadn't happened yet, and so that's why I don't think it's come up. But I'm interested to see if it ever does. All right, 505-246-0610. A couple other things in the National Football League. Patriots named Jacoby Brissett their starting quarterback this morning. He beat the rookie Drake May in the competition. Of course, yesterday the Steelers went with Russell Wilson. He beat out Justin Fields, so the Steelers starting quarterback will be Russell Wilson when they go. Browns released Tyler Huntley. I know yesterday we were talking about how they kept 4 quarterbacks on their roster. They are going with Tyler Huntley is out. He's the longtime backup in Baltimore. And so Cleveland signed Jameis Winston and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Those will be the backups there. JJ, this headline is interesting to me. And it's significant, but in 2025, it's not like a startler to me. 15 quarterbacks. There's 32 teams. So one short of half the starting quarterbacks in the NFL will be black quarterbacks. And it's a historic feat. It's the biggest number. Last year, 14 different black quarterbacks started in week 1. And I looked at it, and it almost didn't even register to me, because to me, I mean, to say you don't see color, I think you're wrong. But to say a black quarterback is an anomaly or something, it never, I don't know. When I look at quarterbacks, I'm like, you got to be good. When you saw the headline, it startled me just because in 2025 or 2024, as we sit here, almost 2025, I guess the fact that was a headline was surprising to me. Does that make sense?
It does. And when you look at quarterback play, you're right. If you're a fan, you want a quarterback that can give your team a chance to win. When you start breaking things down, you'll talk about different styles, this or that, but it's, can you play the position? Can you win? Just look at the top 2 picks in the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Jaden Daniels, even in a short amount of time, the NFL has changed their mindset, because there were still people, and that wasn't that long ago, that were in NFL circles that Lamar Jackson came out, were saying that dude had to be a wide receiver.
Well, I'm interested to see what other positions Justin Fields plays this year, right? I mean, Russell Wilson is the quarterback there, and they're talking about getting Justin Fields on the field in different positions and getting him the ball. But you got Jacoby Brissett, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, Anthony Richardson, Patrick Mahomes, Dak, Geno Smith, C.J. Stroud, Deshaun Watson, Caleb Williams, Russell Wilson, and Bryce Young, and they'll all be starting. So it's significant because it's the highest number ever on opening day in the National Football League. But when I watch football like you do on a week-to-week basis, I love the fact that it's become a long way away from it being significant on a weekly basis. You see a best player playing quarterback. Does it matter if he's a black quarterback? Does it matter if he's a white quarterback? Give me a guy who can play. And I think, back when Doug Williams was in the Super Bowl, and he was the first black quarterback in the Super Bowl, and it was an anomaly. And then you had Randall Cunningham, and it was, but that was a long time ago. I mean, if you're Anthony Edwards, you probably think they can play anyway. They had no skill, and you don't remember it. Right? 23 years ago. But the fact that it's not an anomaly, I think, is something that's really, really cool. Right? I mean, if you're Anthony Edwards, you don't remember when Doug Williams was playing. It was more than. I'm kidding. I do have a response on that, by the way.
I got plenty of response on that as well.
Did you get a bunch on that?
Yes.
I'd love to hear them.
It's to say like any athlete that plays professional sports at any era wouldn't be good enough. I do think it is a bad take, but then you have one bad take compounded by more bad takes, and then so it's.
Has he followed it up? Has he doubled down?
No, I'm talking about then the people. I had someone call up and say, "I'd love to see soft Anthony Edwards play against the Detroit Pistons."
Yeah.
I'm like, well,
was that what that call was?
That was a different one.
All right.
And I'm like, okay, that kind of goes against skill. Like the Detroit Pistons were really good, but you're all right. So you just go out there and have Bill Lambert punch Anthony Edwards, and that shows how much more skill these guys have.
Yeah, it was a different defense back then, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it was a different skill, and you had
defense. It was the NHL.
It was a much more physical game. Yes, it was a much more physical game. I've got actually an interesting, a couple of interesting comments on that when we come back. Jerry Palm at 8:30, CBS Sports. Jerry Palm, will catch up with him, and I'll get you more response to the Anthony Edwards comments. And there's a guy that's kind of on your side. I got one on your side. Or I don't even know what side you're on backing your points on this.
I'm on a carousel right now.
Hey, how's the vehicle? Do you need window tint? Like if you're driving around in this town, and not only just in this heat, but in this town, right? Without window tint, you probably should get a hold of On the Spot Automotive Detailing, a 3M certified dealer. They have the best product on the market, and you can ask for ceramic tint that blocks 99% of UV and infrared rays. That keeps your car looking cool and feeling cool. And it also prevents people from being able to look in and see what you got. And not only does it keep the sun out, to keep the heat out, it also keeps the bad guys out because they can't see what's inside your vehicle as easily as if you don't have it. Get the professional tint you need. Call On the Spot Automotive Detailing. And while you're at it, go online at otsdetailing.com and set yourself up to get your vehicle detailed. Professionally detailed by the best in the city. They were awarded best in the city because On the Spot Automotive Detailing is best in the city. Detailing. Inside, outside, around the rims, under the hood. This is what the pros do, and they are the best of the pros. When you bought your car, it was detailed. It looked and felt and smelled brand new. You can get that again without getting a brand new car. They come to you at your convenience. I don't know where their office is. They come to your office. They come to your home. They'll go out to the ball field while you're practicing, whatever, and detail your vehicle. And when they're done, people are going to be standing around looking at it going, how can I get that? I'll tell you how you can get it. You go to otsdetailing.com. You can book and buy right there, or schedule your appointment by calling On the Spot Automotive Detailing at 505-859-2859, 505-859-2859.
This report is...
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
Surprisingly great rates? Contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Drive your madman home, huh? I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom. Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom. Boom.
So I was thinking about the guy who told you Anthony Edwards is soft, he couldn't play back in that era. And this carnation of Anthony Edwards, you're right. But if he grew up playing that way, right? If that was the way it was played. See, the difference in the whining and stuff, today, guys get hurt and palms go up, arms go out, palms go up, and they're wondering where's the call. Back in that day, you expected to get hit. So yeah. I got to believe a guy, if you time transferred Anthony Edwards back 30 years ago when he was playing against the bad boy Pistons, as the caller said to you, that his skill would still translate and he would play through the contact and understand how the game is and adjust and get hit, right? And you're right. This version of him or LeBron James or any of them would have a real problem playing in that era if you just dropped them 30 years ago. But I got to believe that if that's they would adjust to that, right?
Just like those players would look much different with the spaced out game, 3-point shooting, like the skills of the best player in any league, any game, anytime would always translate with a few tweaks.
Yeah. This is on the text line. There's one, two, it's like 5 of them. Anthony Edwards' take in itself is a bad take, but there's a lot of players that played back in the day that would not make an NBA roster today because they don't have the skills. Go show me the team today that needs Charles Oakley or Bill Laimbeer. I mean, again, they too could adjust, but it continues. Those guys had long, successful NBA careers, and they were in their primes. If they were in their primes today, they would not be good enough to even make an NBA roster. Tell me the team Brad Starks is starting for. I think that's John Starks. Or Mark Jackson. If they even made the league today, would they be riding the bench? Or they would be riding the bench. It continues, says, JJ, however, is on spot, as he often is, with saying that the elite players from any generation would still be elite in any generation. Isaiah Thomas, he could play today. Obviously, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, all those guys you mentioned, they could play today. But the dudes I mentioned earlier and a lot of people that I did not mention would not even make the league. So, first of all, he said you're on spot like you often are, which is pretty right.
I might have sent those text messages.
Could a Bill Laimbeer make the league today? Bill Laimbeer had some offensive skills. He was a defense. Yeah, was he a thug? Yeah, probably. But he was a thug with some skill.
He could do. Yeah. It's what they asked him to do.
Right. That was his role. Charles Oakley.
No, they would not be in the league today.
I would argue that Laimbeer would be in the league today. Oakley.
But then there's guys that are in rotations now that wouldn't be in the league back then because they don't play that way.
So give me a rotation guy right now that's in the league basically almost totally because of his defense.
Oh, there's
shot blockers, right? Rim protectors.
Only because like that era is kind of even moving on.
Yeah, it's a limited offensive. You're an offensive liability. And look, I think Laimbeer still. I mean, I don't know what his numbers. I could find him. He still put up some points. Could he play today? Yeah, I think his game would adjust. I think that's the whole thing. Those guys would adjust. What if you put Michael Jordan or Magic Johnson in the open space game today? They'd be even better, don't you think?
Yes, Magic Johnson would.
Larry Bird?
Be destroying it, yes. Elite players do elite things.
All right, and you watched the Lakers-Celtics documentary, the 3-4-parter on ESPN. It was at ESPN that did it, right? It was physical, man.
Yeah.
You open up the floor for those guys, and just that's the only thing I think that bothers people. And then it gets into, well, that's not the only thing. But then it gets into, he couldn't play today. To say Michael Jordan was the only one with skill is what really chafed a lot of people.
Yeah,
I read Kevin Garnett's comments on it too, and there's a lot of it's just wrong. That's all. It's just wrong.
Yeah, and I think and that's why I don't like Anthony Edwards. I don't agree with it, but I also take a step back and I get he's in the NBA and he's going to grow up. He's going to appreciate things, but he's still just I can't say overconfident because the dude backs it up.
Well, he's real confident.
He's a confident young man with a ton of swag that likes to talk. Doesn't mean that what you say is always right. But I think 10 years from now, 15 years from now, Edwards is going to look back at this era. He's going to have run-ins with those guys and have conversations. And maybe his thought process will change. But right now, all you're looking at is Anthony Edwards. He's a dude that wants to take over the league, coming off a gold medal, and just spouting off.
Let me give you a little more context on what he said, because he prefaced it by saying, I didn't watch it back in the day, so I can't speak on it. They say it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think anybody had skill back then. See, it's two totally contradictory.
Yeah, you can't say that and then...
Right. Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill. You know what I mean? So that's why when they saw Kobe, they were like, oh my God. But now everybody has skill. Okay. I can't speak on it, but I'm going to speak on it. And that's where he got sideways on this. If he would have stopped...
you know what? If you want to say it's tougher, yeah, it's tougher. Because you could get away with less skill at times. But that doesn't mean you couldn't play the game. You're playing it that way.
You played it the way the game was being played at the elite level. You know, that's the whole argument. This team, Olympic team, would have been beating the Dream Team. Come on. Maybe they would have. That'll be a comment. We'll never, ever, 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 ever know. I guess you could play on video game. But we'll never know. You know what I do know? Jerry Palm's joining us next. The guru from CBS Sports. We're going to start up our Thursday conversations that we'll do at 8:30 every day. So when we come back, let's get into the first week of football and how much did Florida State losing hurt their playoff chances? We'll get into that with Jerry Palm from CBS Sports next on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride barbecue chicken and ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
At Arizona ESPN game, Saturday night, 8:30 our time is when the kick will happen. You can listen to it over on News Radio KKOB. Dontrell Moore will be alongside the voice of the Lobos, Robert Portnoy. Pre-game with J.J. Buck, Ned James starts at 7:30. New Mexico State opens up their season. They are at home. Southeast Missouri State will be in town. They get back at it in conference play, or they start conference play next week when they open up against their defending conference champions, Liberty at home. So that'll be next week. So Aggies at home against Southeast Missouri State. Lobos on the road at 21st ranked Arizona. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta and J.J. Buck. So J.J. was on the road last week. Just happened to be having lunch in Hammond, Indiana. I believe it was Hammond, Indiana. And ran into our good friend Jerry Palm. Well, it's not exactly how that worked, but it's good to restart these Thursday 8:30 conversations with the big dog over at CBS Sports. Jerry Palm joins us this morning on the Sports Animal. Hello, my friend. How you living?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. Great to see you last week, and really enjoyed lunch and conversation. And thanks for being so good to my little girl.
Oh yeah, she's great. She adjusting to Michigan, okay?
She will. It's a big change. Big change. I said to her the other day, we only been there 5 days. Like, gosh, it feels like 5 months. When does summer camp end and I get to come home?
Yeah, no kid.
Yeah, but she's learning about humidity and all kinds of different things. So it's good. Big day today. I mean, you can sit in front of the TV, our time, Mountain Time, from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until midnight and just OD. We're in it. But let me go back week 0. What did Florida State losing mean to their chances for the playoff? Because that's a team that in Georgia Tech that when it's all said and done, I'm not sure that's going to end up being an attractive loss.
No, but if it's the only one, they're the conference champions.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on – here's the thing. It's hard to overreact to week 1 accurately. That was a bad performance by Florida State. Georgia Tech was more ready to go. And they played, I thought, harder and smarter. And got a win that they absolutely deserved. So if Florida State's going to play like that all year, and they've got like 3 or 4 losses coming, minimum. So, if we're going to see the Florida State that we expected to see, I don't know that this is a horrible loss for their playoff chances, but they're going to need 10 wins, to have a conversation about the playoff. I don't know that 9's going to do it. And we'll see how bad a loss this is. Georgia Tech might just be better than we think. But, it's I think that Georgia Tech got a win it absolutely deserved, and therefore Florida State got a loss it deserved. But they're going to have to play better than that, or they're not going to win enough games to be part of this conversation.
Yeah, Florida State's on many people's, if not most people's, 12-team projection, as you get started with a playoff. They still have Clemson on their schedule at home. They still have to go to Notre Dame. They still have to go to Miami. I don't know how good, I watched SMU come back and win last week, but I think they're going to be better than that. They still have Florida. There's a lot of landmines for them. That wasn't the hiccup that they can eat. I look at it. If they take one more loss in conference, they probably don't make the conference championship game, which means they don't get an automatic qualifier, which means then they're sitting right there on that bubble like they were last year.
Sure, 10-2. But if they're 10-2
with a loss to Georgia
you're
Tech,
talking about beating all of but one of those teams, right?
Right.
So, it's not a bad 10-2 if it ends up being 10-2. But if it's worse than that, then they're probably not going to the playoffs.
Yeah, Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, is with us here on The Sports Animal.
Jerry, when you look at this weekend and just finding the FBS versus FBS games, where are you starting? Of course, you got Georgia, Clemson, but in terms of like your rundown, where does it start for you of what you need to watch this weekend?
It's funny. There were I think I counted 59 FBS versus FCS games and only 37 between FBS teams. So it's tough sledding to find good games. But Notre Dame and Texas A&M is certainly on that list. Obviously, Georgia, Clemson too. But that Notre Dame Texas A&M game, is a game that those two teams are potential playoff teams, and the loser of that game may end up with a problem. Especially A&M because they're in the SEC. Although they have a great SEC schedule in terms of landmines, they miss most of the better teams. But that's especially at home. A&M is probably going to need that one, and Notre Dame has got some difficult games on their schedule as well. So, the loser of this game has already got a problem. And in terms of making the college football playoff, it's not an elimination game. It's way too early for that. But but we may get to November and think, well, that loss might keep one of these teams out.
Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, with us on the opening drive, and it is going to be a new season of learning, how impactful these games are with the 12-team college football playoff. I want to take you to the group of 5 and some names to watch who you think could be the group of 5 representative in the CFP.
Well, I think Boise State, but I don't think that's a sure thing. And if they don't win the Mountain West, then whoever does win the Mountain West is probably part of that conversation. But Liberty could have another great year. App State looks like the favorite of the Sun Belt. I'm not sure who the favorite in the American is. I guess Memphis. If Memphis has a good year, they could be part of it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure we're getting another conference champion that's really a contender there.
Well, I think you got to watch it because with all the transfer portal moves, I mean, who knows? In Boise State, you look at it and say, okay, I think I know who they are. But there's a lot of those rosters. You're just like, man, there's 30, 40, 50 new guys.
And that's going to be a thing going forward.
Yeah.
The group of 5 rosters are going to churn.
Yes.
Because anybody who shows good enough to play up
plays up.
May end up transferring. Now, Boise State's running back, the Genty.
Ashton Genty.
Yeah, I'm probably mispronouncing it completely. That's a kid who could have moved up and didn't. But I think you're going to see rosters get rated.
We're seeing
it. Team.
Yeah, we're seeing it. Sneaky good watch tonight, and JJ was just talking about group of 5s. Coastal Carolina, Jacksonville State's a really sneaky good game, and what Rich Rod did, going 10-3 or 9-3, they won their bowl game. I saw Jacksonville State in person once last year, and I was really impressed, not only with their size, but their skill. And it sounds like he got better. Coastal's been really, really good. Like, that's a sneaky good early game.
Yeah, I wonder about Coastal, though. I mean, they had a coaching change. I'm actually kind of expecting them to step back a little bit. I like Jacksonville State in this game, and I'm definitely going to watch tonight if I can.
Yeah.
I think that, I wouldn't rule out Jacksonville State maybe even winning that league. I mean, Liberty,
I agree with you.
favorite should be, but I wouldn't rule them out as a contender in that league.
Yeah, I think they're the third pick behind Liberty, Sam Houston, and then Jacksonville State, New Mexico State. A few more minutes with Jerry Palm. LSU SC on Sunday. And I said to somebody, well, just bet the over. I mean, just bet the over. It's 64.5, and it almost seems like too much of an over. But, somebody was telling me, well, SC is going to stay within. SC couldn't tackle anybody last year. I don't know why I'm supposed to believe all of a sudden they lose Caleb Williams, and they're like, talk me into SC on getting 3.5 with LSU.
Yeah, I'm not there. I mean, Miller Moss, did well in the bowl game.
Great.
Right? You just can't judge anything out of a bowl game, right? You just can't. So, let's see what they do against, real talent. And, LSU wasn't a great defensive team last year. USC wasn't a great defensive team last year.
My point on the number, yeah.
You got to think they're going to be better, but only because the bar's so low. But yeah, an over. Yeah, I could see an over in that game. I didn't really think about it when I was doing my column on best bets. I wasn't really thinking about the over with that game, but I probably should have, because that I would like that.
It's a big number, but I mean, it's teams that give up big points.
64 is not a big number the way these teams can play off.
I agree with that, especially in a showcase game on a Sunday standalone neutral side. Totally agree.
Jerry, what are your expectations for Colorado 9.5-point favorites tonight against North Dakota State?
First of all, I think they could lose that game. I don't think there's any question. That's a potential loss. North Dakota State, of course, a traditional power in FCS. Not going to be afraid to play in Colorado. I'm not sure what to expect from Colorado this year, but I don't expect much. I don't think they're going to be noticeably better than last season. But we'll see. I think that Deion's leash is going to get, pretty short. His seat's going to get pretty hot. As this year goes on, I don't think they'll fire him at the end of this year unless they completely tank. But I think next season, Deion is going to have to really show something if they haven't done it this season.
Yeah. Hey, before I let you out of here, this UConn to Big 12 conversation. Look, nothing surprises me anymore. This would be all sports in 2026, from what I hear, and then football would come in 2031.
You talking about UConn?
Yeah, UConn going to the Big 12. What do you make of that? What are you hearing?
They talked about this 6 months ago, maybe, and there are enough Big 12 schools that aren't really feeling it. I don't expect that to change. I think that it's not the right time. I think. Yeah, I mean, I understand, let's get UConn football in there later, but gosh, now they're going to be an independent for 5 more years. I don't think that's great for UConn either. But, if they don't go to the Big 12, they're still an independent now. So maybe it's not that big a deal to them. But, there's no guarantee UConn football is going to be the kind of thing the Big 12 wants 5 years from now either.
It sounds like Brett Yormark, their commissioner, is saying, "Look, we are what we are in football. Let's become the premier basketball league." And there's some rumblings out in the West. We're saying, do they add then Gonzaga and or San Diego State, or a program that makes them they're trying to just become that elite basketball league?
Well, and then that's fine if that's your goal. Then UConn is certainly a worthy entity. And I had heard of Gonzaga be talked about a while ago, and then I haven't heard it now for a while. But that's they could do that. But good, you add those 3 basketball programs, and how big are you?
I mean, you're taking
like
20,
20 team conference for basketball, or 24. I mean, at what point do you get too big?
No, I mean, I think
the money distribution gets so diluted that it's not worth it to everybody.
Well, and then really, what is it a league? I mean, how many teams are you playing? What does your schedule look like? Right, you're playing 18 or 20 league games. You're playing everybody once.
Well, and if you're talking about, I mean, the Big Ten is 18.
Yeah.
So it's going to take 4 years to play everybody in your league home and home once.
Yeah.
In football.
Yeah.
That's basketball is a little bit easier, but because your conference schedule's bigger. But it's 18 is just about as big as you can be, and still have any connection to the other teams in your league at all.
Well, and especially when you're going coast to coast, right? I mean, it's a 3,000-mile trip.
It's just UCLA's travel schedule this year is going to be insane.
Well, what's Gonzaga's
starting with going to Hawaii this weekend?
Sure. Well, if they do this? So UConn's, I don't know, pick your volleyball, pick your softball, so their travel is going to be to Arizona and Texas for almost everything.
Yeah. I mean, they're not going to be who's the closest school? Iowa State.
It would be West Virginia.
Oh, so of course West Virginia. Yeah, I keep forgetting that they're in the Big 12. Yeah, West Virginia.
Yeah, but after that,
and then Iowa State is second closest.
Yeah, it's bonkers. All right, read them every day over on CBSSports.com. What's your X handle?
JP Palm CBS.
At JP Palm CBS. All right, go get. By the way, that sandwich was great. Whatever that little that jelly or whatever there's a great little brewery right there in northern Indiana.
Yeah, Byway. Yeah,
Byway.
Just on the Highland side of Hammond.
Of course, of course,
of the freeway. But yeah, that Byway is that's one of my favorite places.
Thanks for turning us on to that. Enjoy the weekend. We'll catch up with you next Thursday.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
See you, Jerry Palm, CBSSports.com with us. The Big 12 stuff with UConn is really interesting to me. And what did he say? Who did he have tonight? Colorado? North Dakota State said they could get beat.
Yes, North Dakota State could win that game.
Yeah. All right, you can respond to that. 505-246-0610. It was good stuff with Jerry. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, brah. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Zero 610. Who's watching your house when you're not there? IPS watches mine. They watch a lot of businesses as well. You've been to the Targets. You've seen them out in front. They are making a difference, and they make a difference for me. They can make a difference for you as well. In a climate where property crime continues to be on the rise, call International Protective Service. Protect what you have worked so hard to build. Protect your home. Protect your business. They have armed guards, 24-hour patrols. They will help you with installing alarms, cameras. They will monitor those alarms, and when they go off, they're there within 5 to 7 minutes with a trained armed security officer. The police can take hours, if not days. They just don't have enough officers to cover all the calls. So get yourself a quick response to your alarm. Standing guards at your business. That's what IPS does. You sleep better at night. The number is 505-897-2420, 505-897-2420, or online at ipsglobal.com. IPS is passionate about making Albuquerque better and safer to live and work. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck. We're talking a little bit about the Brandon Ayuk stuff early, the holdout for the San Francisco 49ers. And John Lynch, their general manager, said, I expect him to be at practice. I expect him soon. And he was asked yesterday, what happens if Brandon Ayuk doesn't come to practice? And his response was, then we'll deal with that. At some point, you've got to play. Practice rolled around right after that, and there was no Brandon Ayuk. Evidently, he's been holding in. So this is a line in the sand. I don't think there's any more leeway on this, JJ, from the Niners' point. I don't think there's any more. Here's our offer. Whatever the offer has been on the table, I just, the way this one's coming across, pretty set in stone. We've hit our number. Take it or get to camp and play on your current deal and go away next year.
As it should be. They've had trades in place that you said no to. And then so you take a step back and go, what are you trying to get at here? Because you're not going to become one of the top 5 paid receivers in the game because you're not that dude. And San Francisco is not going to be successful paying Brandon Ayuk like CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, for that matter. And so you do want to be traded? Well, we've had trades in place. You've said no. So at this point in time, show up and play, or you can sit on the sidelines.
Yeah. And we'll hold back that $14.9 million that you're supposed to get paid this year. And look, I don't know. There's players that you think are plug and play. And I hear all the time, well, he's a veteran. He can just show up. I don't know, man. You know, there's a reason there's 6-8 weeks of training camp, right? Part of it's camaraderie, but a lot of it is timing and X's and O's. And just from a pure football perspective, not contracts, not money, not personality. I don't care what you think of Brandon Ayuk. But don't you think at some point you got to go, like he can't show up on Wednesday of game week and be one of the best players on the field, can he?
No.
I agree. I mean, that's why you have 6 to 8 weeks of camp, right? That's what the timing is. That's what you put in all these new wrinkles, whatever it is you do. A guy, he's been in meetings. He's holding in. I just don't. There's a reason you do all these things. There's very few things in football that are just done to do them. Everything's very, very intentional, including this. When we come back, is there urgency to get Dak Prescott's deal done before the season? The answer is no. It's not my opinion. That's not JJ's opinion. That is the answer from the top. Why there is no urgency, Cowboy fan, to get your quarterback signed. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part,
so that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Now, voted the best sports show in New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with three-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Bob.
Footy tonight, you started out with the big Howard versus Rutgers matchup. Ended up with Sacramento State and San Jose State. In between, you get some North Dakota State, Colorado. Coastal Carolina, Jacksonville State. North Carolina, Minnesota. You get footy tonight. A week from tonight, you'll get the National Football League. And this afternoon, you get us in your ear. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. Glad you're with us. 95.9 FM. And AM 610, The Sports Animal. I want to remind you about trips on a Tankful to the Glorietta Adventure Camp. It's a high five zip line adventure for 4 people, and it's valued at over $500. We're giving it away, and you can register for that. It includes 5 sections of zip line stretched above the Rockies. You get a $150 gas card from Mercedes-Benz of Albuquerque. Log on to our website, sportsanimалabq.com, and take part in that. JJ, we've been talking about this, and I think you and I are both under the belief that the Cowboys go into the season with Dak Prescott working on the last year of his deal. And what Jerry Jones has been saying over the last bunch of days about how I believe pressure makes you play better, and there's nothing like having the pressure of playing for a contract. That he's not going to get it done. But there's been people who are saying there's a lot of urgency. Quote Jerry Jones, he was talking to Clarence Hill of DLLS. We don't need to get this done before the season. We just don't need to get it done before the season because it's in all of our interest. Dak and everybody to have a great season. And as a matter of fact, it's probably not realistic to think before the season. But my thought sitting right here is we'll have Dak as Cowboys quarterback in 2025 and beyond. But all I'm going to say is this. It's not done yet. End quote. I mean, there's no urgency. And what he's saying is, and he's right, look, it's in Dak's interest to hold out for his number. Because what do you always tell me on these things? It's not getting any cheaper. So he believes what he's worth right now, sitting here on August 29th of 2024, he's going to be worth exponentially more when free agency opens in March of next year.
Yeah, I don't think it's just Dak wanting more. I think this is Jerry Jones saying, go win some playoff games and we'll get this done. Because of what happened last year against Green Bay Packers in Dallas. And this could be one where it's more of the same. And people are expecting more of the same. Dallas is good enough in a regular season. Maybe they even miss the playoffs. But if they get there, probably go 1-10. And I do think that Dak Prescott could be done in Dallas and be a gigantic upgrade for someone else.
I absolutely agree.
And you're like, well, how can that be? He can't win in the playoffs. I don't know, if I'm sitting there and I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I could have the opportunity to have a conversation with Dak Prescott next year. A team in that division. I think Brian Daboll, if they let him stay, wouldn't love to say, all right, now I got Dak Prescott to work with. There's teams in this league that will be better and will take advantage of the Dallas Cowboys' failures.
I'll give you 7 right off the top of my head. 7 teams right now. You named a couple of them. Pittsburgh and the Giants. Seattle. Las Vegas. New Orleans. Tampa Bay. Although they just signed Baker for 2 years. Look, if this thing in Carolina didn't get better, Carolina. That's 7 teams without really diving into this thing that could look at this and say, let me throw another one out there that should be really obvious. New York Jets. I mean, if this is Aaron Rodgers last year and this is already signed up for 2, and this is number 2. So that's 8 teams right now that would probably pay him close to $60 million a year. Carolina, maybe, maybe not, because they've got to, that would basically be saying we fanned completely on all those draft picks and wasted number 1 on Bryce Young, and if it fails. But that's a maybe. But how long are you going to ride the Derek Carr train? Gardner Minshew and Jarrett Stidham, whatever you got going in Vegas, you're uncertain. Geno is adequate for a little bit. You're right on the Giants. Pittsburgh has got a 2-headed experiment that they got no money invested into, so they got nothing to lose. Tampa Bay is interesting. Baker may be their guy, so that might be low on the list. I mean,
yeah, given the fact they just gave him $100 million this offseason.
Right. So they're probably staying with Baker for 2 more. But I mean, all right. So there was at least 6 or 7 of right off the top of your head.
However Dak Prescott's career has gone to this point in Dallas, I would be fine if Dak Prescott ends up being, which he will be, a top 5 paid quarterback in the NFL. Because I trust him more than Kyler Murray going forward. Now I'm looking at some of the guys in the top 10. Of course, Deshaun Watson, just money value. Like, I trust him more than Tua. So this is one where the failures of the Cowboys can actually still be a positive for Dak Prescott and a definite advantage for a team looking for a quarterback next year.
I was going to make a comparison here. Let's just do this. Let's go down the list. What you think you've got in place for quarterback next year? In the AFC East, I'll trust Buffalo more, but I'll trust Dak more than what you got in Miami, New England, and Jets next year, right? I'll trust Baltimore more. I'll trust Cincinnati more, but not Cleveland and not Pittsburgh, right? Than what you got with Dak. I'll trust Houston. Where are you putting Indianapolis?
If you're telling me Dak or Anthony Richardson, I'm taking Dak.
Okay, so you're saying Indianapolis is on the Dak side. Tennessee?
Dak Prescott.
Jacksonville? I'm going Jacksonville.
I feel like that's a kind of a push to me.
I'm giving him one more year to see what's there. All right. Denver? Denver's not going to be in the conversation because I think they're going to be in on Bo Nix, but do you trust Dak more than Bo Nix?
Yeah.
Kansas City, no. I know not the LA Chargers, but certainly Las Vegas. Okay. Giants, Dak, right? Eagles, probably go Eagles. What about Jaden Daniels?
See, the rookies,
they're going to stay.
next year,
Yeah.
like some of these guys, you could say you're in a better off position than Dak. So I kind of would take the rookies off the board.
I'm just looking at their situation, right? As I look at their situation for next year, like Minnesota, Dak or JJ McCarthy, I
Like,
think,
it's JJ McCarthy.
yeah, but I would still trust Dak more than that. Like Atlanta, Kirk Cousins or Dak right now, he'll be 40.
Right now?
Well, going into next year, as you look into next year right now,
Well, Kirk Cousins is like 30.
is that all?
Yeah.
All right.
Aaron Rodgers is the old man. 36 is young, spring, vibrant.
All right, I just made this list. Arizona, you and I are a little different on Kyler. Kyler is one of the most fascinating players for me in the league this year, on what he becomes. Right, Kyler Murray is. I want to see. I'm going to put him on the them list. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I got half the teams in the league. Half the teams in the league where I would trust Dak more than what I think their quarterback situation is going to be next year. That puts him right in the middle of, basically what we're saying is he's right in the middle of the league quarterback. But he may reset the market.
Well, I think Dak even in a different situation is better than that. This dude flashes top 5. So just because we might rank him 12th, like you're talking about a guy that can play with who you expect him to play with.
But to make him top 5, he's going to do more than flash top 5. Like, he's got to consistently be that guy. Don't you think? And all those lists are random. And whatever GM...
Yeah, but if we always go back to the Cowboys can't get out of their own way.
Mm-hmm.
And, Jerry Jones is the noise that ruins that franchise. You put Dak in a different situation. Like, are we just still saying, well, it's not Dallas?
Is he Matt Stafford? Right? Does he go somewhere and win? Omar says, if any club wants to give this quarterback $50 million plus, Jeffy, more power to them. America is great. I just hope one of them is not the NFL's $10 billion franchise. So Omar's as staunch Cowboy fan as there is. He's like, let him go.
And you're going to go watch Dak Prescott win playoff games, so you don't.
And you might, but what are you going to do? Right? Is it going to be Shedeur Sanders? I mean, like if I said to you right now, seal the envelope and let's open it in 365 days. The Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback in 2025 will be Dak Prescott, Shedeur Sanders, Trey Lance, none of the above, or somebody else. Which way would you go?
I think I'd still write down Dak Prescott.
Okay.
Because I think as much as Jerry's putting out there the pressure, this and that, the uncertainty if they have, I think what changes is how does their season end? Are they another 10, 11 win football team, go to the playoffs, but then how do they lose in the playoffs? Are they embarrassed at home? Is it a game where it's back and forth, and then you can say, well, that's not on Dak Prescott because the team right there and the defense didn't make a play late.
So how does that work for Josh Allen's reputation?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen's reputation is fine.
Amongst most people, yes. Yeah, but they still say he can't win the big one when everything you just described is what he's done. Let me throw one more in there because I think this would be so script perfect. Aaron Rodgers. What if he has a decent year? This is it with the Jets, right? This last year. Could you see him doing 1 year there? I think that'd just be fascinating to me. Now, it'd be a $60 million 1 year deal.
No, Aaron Rodgers is under contract next year.
He is under contract next year? Okay. With the Jets? I thought it was just a 2 year deal. Okay. 505-246-0610. Tom Brady makes his TV debut, his analyst debut, on Sunday next week, Cowboys and Browns. But you've been hearing that he is in line to be part owner of the Raiders. So what happens? Can he be scheduled to be on a Raider game? The NFL decided on that next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stunker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor. My dad and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women.
What if you own a team and you're a network analyst, and then you get assigned to that team's game? How's that? Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta. JJ Buck, want to hear from you today. 505-246-0610 is how you get in. Steve from Michigan says, Jeff, who are you rooting for this weekend, Michigan or Fresno State? Oh, you're looking at me like, I haven't even thought about it, honestly. Fresno State, of course, the defending Isleta New Mexico Bowl champions. Kind of hard not to root for them, but I mean, I'm giving Michigan a lot of money, aren't I?
Yes, you are.
Do I have?
I think it's going to be go blue.
Yeah, I think my kid. Yeah, I don't know, Steve. Who are you rooting for in Michigan? I don't even, like. Normally, you see a game and you kind of you sway away, don't you? Kind of like go. So you think it's go blue?
Go blue.
All right.
Tom, you ain't cheating. You're not trying.
Tom Brady's a former Michigan quarterback. Do you know that? Played football at the University of Michigan. Now he's considered the greatest ever. He's going to be a broadcaster. He's making, 10 years at like $370 whatever million he's got? $375 million. $37.5 million a year, JJ. He gets to do, 18, 19 games? Kind of what we get to do, like a ProView Networks game or something like that. All right, so he has been partially approved to become a partial owner. Or he's in the process of being approved to become an owner of the Raiders. So what happens if he gets assigned a Raider game? There's been some concern from owners that he would have access that would be a problem. So if Tom Brady, becomes a partner of the Raiders and gets a Raider game, he would be subject to these policies. One, JJ, he would be prohibited from publicly criticizing game officials and other clubs. So he could say that he disagrees with the call, but he would be subject to fines or even a suspension if he goes too far. So the answer is don't assign him to Raider games, but go on. He's subject to the league's gambling policy. Okay. And he would be subject to anti-tampering rules. He'd be permitted only strictly social communication with members of other clubs. And the other one, and this is interesting, JJ, he would not be permitted in any of those he wouldn't be able to go to practice for the other team. He would not be able to go to the pre-game meetings. In those pre-game meetings, I'm assuming you've been in some of those. Like, do you ever meet with the coaches on Friday when you do a game? When I've done games, I've sat down with coaches or I've done phone, and they'll give you stuff that they know is in confidence, and it really helps the flavor of the game. You hear analysts all the time, well, in talking to offensive coordinator so-and-so, they really want to utilize the right side because they feel that whatever. Okay? That's where a lot of that comes from. So he would not have, any of the advantage of being at practice and seeing something that they all go to. They all go to these practices the day before the game or 2 days before the game. And they all have conversations with the coaching staff. I don't think this is unreasonable. And Greg Olson evidently went by this his first year out of the league. Are you good with all this? Because I think it's right, and I think the answer is try not to put him on a Raiders game. And there may be a national game that he gets or whatever that there's no choice, but I think that's a simple answer.
Well, it's not simple. Because then you can't have all these other meetings, you can't go to practices, and it's you're paying for Tom Brady, but is he able to do what he wants in a role? Like, he's been training for this for a year.
Yep.
Like, they've been doing mock broadcasts.
Yep.
He's said he wants to do this the right way. And yes, you're Tom Brady. And you can go in there and you're still going to be able to talk football and know more stuff than anyone else. But is that what he wants to do? Because this is essentially would just be you show up on Sunday and then do nothing else.
Right, and that's why I think the simple answer is just don't put him on a Raider.
It's not just a Raider. He can't do anything.
With anybody, period?
Yes.
That's not how I've been reading this. Okay, then that's...
Brady would not be permitted in any other team's facilities, would not be permitted to witness practice, and would not be permitted to attend broadcast production meetings, either in person or virtually.
So it's not just when they're playing the Raiders. Oh, that's very different to me. Okay, then I read this completely wrong. Well, then it's really big. All right, then it's really big. Yeah.
Because that's definitely not just a Raiders thing.
Okay. No, then that's a really big deal.
And so what I was reading that story too is they're kind of hoping that this
drags on.
Does, yeah. So Fox can have Tom Brady do his job and not have any restrictions, but Tom Brady is definitely interested in this because him and Richard Seymour have put together this proposal to try to get 10% of the Raiders, so that's not something that I think Tom's just going to throw away.
Well, if he wants to do it the right way, then he can put it off until after he is done with TV. Or, look, I don't know. I don't know how much money is enough for you and what you really want to do, what your priorities are. It's not for me to tell you. But, yeah, then the way you're reading this, and it's probably right, is it really restricts him from, and he's going to be on the number one team, right? So they're all your big games. He's the number one. He took Greg Olson's spot on the number one team without having to have done a game, which I thought was a little premature because I think Greg Olson's really good.
That's what, the best quarterbacks of all time, you still get benefits even after the fact.
Yeah, that's fair. But JJ, the amount of information that you get sitting with the coaches the day before the game, I find invaluable. Now, there's been plenty of games where I don't get to do that, and I don't have that comfort level. I don't have the notes. I don't have the background. You get ideas what a player thinks of that edge rusher, and a linebacker that you might not think of, but he's the heart and soul of our team, and he's the guy calling the plays because he does this so well. And watch him. We're gonna bring him in these packages, or what we're gonna try to do is get this guy a little more involved in the offense, and so be ready for a couple of plays where whatever. Right, you got it. It's invaluable information that makes a broadcast that much better. Yeah. George and I would sit there and just take pages of notes, when I would talk last year. Like let's just say, with Brian Vincent, the offensive coordinator, you ask a few questions and the knowledge that you get is invaluable. Yeah, then you're absolutely right. Then this is a big deal.
Yeah, it would have severe restrictions on his access to all NFL teams, and he also would be prohibited from publicly criticizing game officials or other clubs.
Yeah.
So how can you be an analyst? Yeah, you're Tom Brady. It would be pretty much Fox just paying. We have Tom Brady who sits down on Sundays and watches football just like you.
Let me ask you this: are you going to watch or not watch one game because Tom Brady is or is not the commentator?
I do not watch sports because of who's calling it.
Aside from the first, now you kind of want to hear his first one, don't you? I do. But aside from the first one, I told you there's like 3 guys in history that I can recall that I would watch a game that I wouldn't normally watch because they're calling it. Vince Scully is one of them. Doc Emmerich is the other. And Bill Walton was the third.
Yeah, there's guys I absolutely appreciate, doing this and wanting to be good at it and continuing to grow. I listen, but to me, I'm that dude that I won't turn on or turn off a game because of a certain voice.
Yeah, and look, there could be really bad announcers, and I'm still watching the game because I want to watch the game. And I've sat through that. I'm like, wow, dude, who's calling this game? Like, what are you saying? And maybe people have done that with me. I'm okay with that. But, yeah, this is insanely restricted. All right, 505-246-0610. Cowboys signed Dalvin Cook yesterday. JJ says, okay, yeah, whatever. What does Jerry Jones say? A little bit more than, yeah, whatever. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM. And AM 610, the Sports Animal.
95.9 FM.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action ProView Networks.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
To make its mark once again, gotten a little bit younger. If these guys are playing, there's not a dude that you're going to sit there and go, oh, this guy's getting 15 carries. No, it could be 10, 7, 5 carry distribution in their offense.
Who gets 10?
1 week it could be Ezekiel Elliott. 1 week it could be Rico Dowdle. 1 week it could be Dalvin Cook.
Does Rico Dowdle emerge from this, do you think?
No.
Is he just not big enough? Not good enough? I mean, I heard he had a really good camp. Whatever that means. I was stunned that they didn't do something to upgrade this position. 6 foot, 215 pounds, pretty decent sized dude for a running back, right? 5th season. I mean, it's now or never, right?
I think, well, what are we expecting Rico Dowdle to be? What are we expecting from this? Are we talking just from a football standpoint or someone that you want on your fantasy?
No, a football standpoint. Does he emerge, can he emerge to be a number one back? Does somebody out of this emerge, or do you think this stays murky and, as you said, 10, 5, 7 or whatever all year long?
I think it's murky.
Okay.
And Rico Dowdle should have a few more flashes than those other running backs. But I think it could be a situation where it's just average.
Okay.
Like, you're not going to be like, wow, you really found something. I think it's offensively, they just want the run game to function as opposed to knowing, hey, this guy is going to be a difference maker.
Yeah. All right, you sent a bunch of emails, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com or JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. Gene's in on the Isotopes. Time has come for Albuquerque's AAA franchise to start talking about running the table, Jeff, if you're planning on extending your season. When you're 7 back, 22 to go, you can't continue to split series if you want to play the Skeeters for the PCL championship belt. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen. Gopher, can I vent, Jeffy? Sure, that's what we're here for. He says, I'm in the grub line before work, and the idiot in front holding everyone else up orders like 15 breakfast burritos. What the heck is wrong with people? Well, he's buying for everyone, man. It's like the dude next door that's brought in a box of donuts. Do you see the box of donuts, by the way?
There's a box of donuts?
Yeah, there's Dan Morning for the fair brought him in. Yeah. Bruce said, I can't wait to hear from Smooth Jerry and get his thoughts on whether Lobo football needs to learn to win just to close out Montana State at home with a 17-point lead, 12 minutes left. Yeah, I didn't get into Montana State and New Mexico with Jerry Paul. 505-246-0610. Howard, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. Hello, Howie. Let me do that again. Hold on. There we go. Nice and soft. If I do it really softly, that well,
there we are.
Yeah.
Hey, so I guess a mess, pretty much describes it to a T. Jerry Jones keeps hiring running backs that are closer to Social Security than they are to their prime, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I Dalvin Cook, I can't see him panning out. Rico Dowdle, I think the Cowboys are at best looking, unless something just super surprises, I think they're probably going to be an 8 or 9 win team and not make the playoffs because people are going to know them. They're going to become one-dimensional. They're going to rely on Dak's arm, and when it's open season on Dak, he doesn't do well. So, I don't have a lot of hope for this season. I'm pretty disappointed, and I don't know. What are they going to do? Let Dak lay out his contract and let him go? They're still on the hook next year for more cap space, aren't they?
Yeah, how does that work next year? Is it 50-something against the cap, 60-something against the cap? Yeah, it's a bunch. Yeah, but I think that's.
I think it's like 54. So
Yeah.
I think you're still screwed next year too.
Yep.
So anyway, not a good time to be a Cowboy fan. Not a lot of optimism, but I'll remain ever hopeful. Talk to you later, guys.
See, look at that. Most fan bases are pretty optimistic this time of year. Cowboy fans like down in the dumper, right? You look at the cap hit for next year.
We know the cap hits over $50 million regardless
big.
for Dak.
It's big.
So at some point, like any of these contracts, you have to eat it. And if Dallas is moving on, then that they go rookie, then that's one that they could get by with.
Yeah. All right, 505-246-0610 if you want to get in. Les sent me one. Obviously, the Lobos, JJ, did not consult with Les when they put their football schedule together because he's really upset. He says he wants to watch Lobo football at Arizona bad. But I'm not going to be able to stay up after midnight. I need to be fresh for my fantasy footy draft, which is scheduled for Sunday at 7 a.m. It's the only time this busy weekend everyone was free to meet. Lobo football has to get these post times figured out. They just have to. Not everyone can put their lives on hold to watch a really late game. It's too early. It's too late. There's plenty of people who said, this is perfect. I get to do whatever I want on Saturday. I get to play golf. I get to go watch the kids' game. We'll take the family out to dinner, and then I get to go home and put the Lobo game on and crack. And it's perfect.
We all have schedules.
Yeah, figure it out.
We all have lives.
Oh.
It's in Arizona, so it's not up to the Lobos.
That's right. TV game.
And I'm glad you get to hang out with your buddies.
Yeah,
do
7
fantasy
a.m.
football.
Enjoy that 7 a.m. fantasy football.
I don't know if you're meeting up in their nursing home or what, but have a great time.
Yep, they get porridge and a nice oatmeal will be ready for them to go. What time's your draft on Saturday or Sunday? Saturday? No, yours is Monday. 12, like middle of the day? Labor Day? We're not here on Monday, by the way. Taking Labor Day off, just like y'all Ron says, what are the chances, Jeffy Lube, you're in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, and you run into a superstar like Jerry, right? What are the chances? Hammond, Indiana is kind of, it's still Chicagoland, kind of. Ron's in on these gigantic conferences that Jerry was talking about. Remember the 16-team WAC with the quadrants? I do. He says you were getting SMU, TCU, et cetera, at University Stadium like once every 8 years. They didn't even feel like part of your league. What are we doing? We've already done it, man. We've already done it. And I agree with you. It doesn't feel like leagues. It's going to take a minute. And everybody's talking about how this college season is different. And it is, man. And it's going to take a minute when you start seeing Colorado playing West Virginia in a league game, or UCF and Arizona in a league game, or USC's playing Wisconsin and it's a league game, and UCLA's at Rutgers. Yeah, it's really, especially the Pac-12 people and the West Coast people are really, really struggling with this. And I don't blame them. I mean, you grew up, JJ, this isn't, you talk about, I don't remember something, I'm 23 years old, and I don't remember what happened before. When this is what you're in, this is your life. You don't remember, because there's nothing to really remember unless you're a Colorado fan being part of that conference. But this is so new. How about Utah fan, man? They went like WAC, Mountain West, Pac-12 down to the Big 12. They've been bouncing around a lot too. But if you're an SC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, hell, Arizona, you know what's going to be even weirder? Oregon State and Washington State. Look at your schedule. Yeah, this is a weird adjustment year, don't you think? For everybody. He said, by the way, Les did on his fantasy thing, by the way, my fantasy team name is Ben Venidos. Ben space Venidos. It's kind of good. I like that. I got to find a couple good names. I got to draft tonight. Where's our board? There's nobody in here to put stuff on the board, and it's all the way over there now.
I know it's another shadow.
It's like I can't. The board is empty. All right, when we come back, we'll wrap it up. Everything you got to know as you go through your Thursday. Still got time for you to get in at 5:05. 246-0610 on the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
For surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, brah. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one, both of them, gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction.
The Albuquerque Convention Center, and so you know how wonderful it is. If you are planning an event, a party, a holiday party, I mean, we're time for that now. Anything. Hell, your fantasy football draft. From 2 to 20,000 people. Start looking at the Albuquerque Convention Center. In the heart of downtown with diverse spaces, the Albuquerque Convention Center will accommodate anything imaginable, from intimate meetings and gatherings to grand expos and conferences. They got the staff, the service, the food and beverage options that go above and beyond. Your dream event becomes reality. We have hosted an event for the Isleta New Mexico Bowl every year there for the players, because they treat our people incredibly well. And we have to rely, I mean, literally, everything we do is hospitality. They take care of our people, and that's why we keep going back. I emceed the Hall of Fame banquet there a few months ago. They fed 650 people quickly. The food was great. The service was great. Parking is right there accessible. Take a look when you're starting to look at where you should hold an event. Wedding, reception, whatever it happens to be. Be at the center of it all. It's the Albuquerque Convention Center. Call them at 505-768-4575. That's 505-768-4575, or you can visit them online. It's albuquerquecc.com. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta and J.J. Buck. What you got to know as you go through your day. The Steelers named a quarterback this morning. It is going, they did that yesterday. It's going to be Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. So Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback for the Steelers. The Patriots did it this morning, and they are going with Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback over the 3rd overall pick, Drake May. Browns freed up $36 million in cap space. They restructured Deshaun Watson's deal. I mean, it doesn't mean anything to him. He's getting $44.79 million of his $46 million up front as a bonus. Here you go, bro. Here's $44.7 million. What would you do if you looked at your bank account, checked it online, ding? Do you just take it and run because you know it's an error? What do you do? Honestly,
immediately get my family on a plane to a country that you can't be,
right, that you can't find me. Yeah. Got $44.7 million, bro. What are you gonna do? Yeah, empty it. What else I got for you? As far as big news today, that's what's happened this morning. Cubs scored 11 unanswered runs last night. Came back and beat the Pirates. I thought that was pretty amazing. And Caitlin Clark became, she set another record in the WNBA. Most three-pointers by a rookie in a season. Who is is she going to be your rookie of the year?
Yes.
Who votes on that, players or media? And do you think you would get a different response if it was players or media? Because Angel reached 7 a year.
I think we've kind of been through it. The Olympic break, I think, was good for the WNBA in terms of we are overanalyzing everything that was going on.
Okay.
Speaking of being physical, remember when someone checked Caitlin Clark and lost their mind?
Yeah, that happened this year.
Kennedy Carter could have played in the 80s for sure. People would have loved her. But you check Caitlin Clark now, oh my gosh, you need to be suspended 5 weeks.
That's right.
I think that the league has seen her play. The fact that this team is winning basketball games, what they've done after a 1-8 start to be in playoff contention.
Then they beat the Liberty, or they beat the Sun yesterday.
Both are living up to the highest expectations we've ever had for WNBA rookies. And it's great for the game, but Caitlin Clark is the rookie of the year.
I think that's right. Yeah, and where she's got her team, and the big win yesterday over the Sun. And I think
they were 1-8 to start the season. Now they're 15-16. They have a lot of talent. Back-to-back number 1 overall picks. Like, need some time to grow. Get comfortable.
She set the rookie 3-point mark last night. She's got 88 3-pointers, passed Ryan Howard, and her team won last night, 88-80 over Connecticut. So 19-5-5 for her last night, and the 88 3-pointers is a rookie record, and it was a big one for the club, right? It was, as far as the standings are concerned and everything that goes with that. I don't know if you're still watching the WNBA or you're not, and many of you are, many of you are not. But top 8 make the playoffs. They are sitting solidly in 7th place right now, and within reach. They're a half game out of 6 outside of Phoenix. And they're, how many do we play? They played, let's say 30, so they play 30. We're coming to the end here, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay. So it'll be playoffs here pretty soon. Yeah, I think you're right on that. Angel Reese's Chicago Sky team is 11-19, and they are 1 game up on Atlanta for the final playoff spot. So if you're still watching that, there's something to watch, because there's a lot there with that. Another thing, I don't know how to. It takes more time than this. I wanted to get into Ohio State's reported $20 million salary pool for NIL for football. And again, I've used this a lot, and it's Bobcat's term, but I've kind of really adopted it. Same planet, different world, right? You know, Lobos are going to open up at Michigan next year. They're not playing with the same toolbox that Michigan is. They'll play football. When you line 11 guys up against 11 guys, they're playing the same game. They're playing on the same size field and relatively same equipment. But preparation and resources are not nearly the same. Sports Illustrated has a story up today about Ohio State's $20 million. They got 2 collectives going. And they said that, JJ, do you know when they got their biggest boost in donations? They said was after they, quote, lost that team up north, end quote, when Michigan beat them again. Because people were so pissed and they realized they had to go out and buy a team. And $20 million for, I mean, this system is how old? 3 years old, 4 years old? NIL, that it's been legal? I don't know where it goes or where you want it to go. I think when revenue sharing hits, and that's coming very, very soon, I don't think we're far off from seeing $100 million salaries for college football teams. Do you? Like overall? I mean, not per, but
I do not know how it's going to function when you get to that point.
Well, I mean,
they're pretty much going to strip everything down.
Yep.
And it will be strictly football, men's basketball, possibly some women's basketball, and that's it.
So Michigan this week, Ward Manuel, their athletic director, said we're not cutting sports. I think he's got 29. I mean, everything from women's rowing all the way up to football. He said we're not cutting sports, and we're going to go 20% in on revenue share. I don't know how long that'll be sustainable. I don't know how he expects to do that.
Might not be cutting sports, but I've seen a lot of reports and talk that all of a sudden you're a scholarship athlete over here, and then the school's like, yeah, that's now a club sport. So
yeah,
fun.
Well, and then how are they traveling? You know, again, you're going to start talking about 29 sports, and Michigan's got to travel their softball and tennis teams to California to play UCLA, or go up to Seattle to play Washington. And while the money continues to get bigger, once you carve, whether it's 20% out for revenue sharing or whatever it is, look, 20%, I don't care if your budget's $50 million or $500 million. 20% is a chunk. And how you continue to do things the way you're doing it, I don't know the answer. And I think it's a shame. Somebody was telling me yesterday that we were talking about athletics, and specifically UNM and whoever the athletic director is comes in. UNM sponsors 16 sports right now. And you know they cut skiing and men's soccer and beach volleyball. And somebody who's pretty informed on this, that I think, within about 5 years, you're going to see UNM down to 8 sports. You go, damn, dude. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, that's certainly a theory, but I don't know that I think that's out of the realm of possibility. Do you? Football, men's and women's basketball, volleyball, and then what? Maybe baseball? Baseball would probably be cut, right?
Yeah, this is going down a path that I think in a couple years it's going to be sad. Just for fans of Olympic sports and just the opportunities that are going to be taken away because you need that to be able to sustain your football salary cap.
Yeah. Am I taking that 20% that's going to the players? Where am I taking it from? And is that the 20% that helps me fund tennis and cross country and rowing and lacrosse or baseball? Yeah, that's the conversation that's being had. So when you hear about it all, and I'm not saying players shouldn't get their money, good for them, and they like God bless them, right? But at whose expense? And you're saying, well, Jeff, but the money that's coming in is so astronomical. I get it, I got it, right? Yeah, there's a lot of money coming into those schools from TV contracts. But if you carve, and I keep going to the number 20% because that's been the most common number thrown around. Well, let's just say you're getting $90 million a year from your TV deal. Well, you carve $18 million off of that. Well, Jeff, you still have, yeah, I got it. All right, thank you to Jerry Palm. He was with us today. Enjoy the football tonight. You get a bunch of it. Jim Rome Show is next. The Herd with Colin Cowards after that. 2 Men On is in at 4 o'clock, and then you get the Isotopes and the Aces of Reno. Adrian, great job. Looks good on the TV side. Big day for you today?
Huge day.
Enjoy it. Be good to each other. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. We'll smell you tomorrow morning.
Safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight. Boom! Boom!
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay, thank you.